All right, here we're working on the 918 practice. So I would definitely urge you to make sure that you've at least attempted it before watching this, right? And it's perfectly okay to turn in your work on Canvas, make corrections, then turn it back in. All right, just make sure that you use this video well, all right, to learn. All right, so the first one says select all the statements that show correct reasoning for finding 14/15 divided by 7/5. Okay, so my hint was think through the steps. Well, what do? We keep change flip. We keep the first one, flip to multiply, all right, then or change to multiply, then flip to the second one. So also think about what we did with the models, right? So what we were doing was actually multiplying by how many parts it was dividing into, then dividing by how many parts we had. Okay, so that would be look like this. All right, once we do keep change flip, right? So what we're going to do then is we are multiplying by 5, then dividing by 7. Now, you also could view it like this. If we multiply by 5 and multiply by 1/7, multiplying by 1/7 and dividing by 7 are the same thing. Okay, so that's what you had to um, watch out for there. Oh wait, I circled the wrong one there because it says dividing by. My fault. It's multiplying by 5, then by 1/7. Sorry, right there. Knew what I was saying, just circle the wrong one. All right. Second one says Claire said that 4/3 divided by 5/2 is 10/3. She reasoned 4/3 times 5 is 20/3, and 20/3 divided by 2 is 10/3. So what Claire has done here, why is she wrong? Well, she's wrong because she did not flip and multiply by the reciprocal. So you could say something like she did not flip and multiply by the reciprocal. She just multiplied by the numerator. Or you could say, basically something along the lines of she's not considered how many parts is divided into first. So there's a couple of different ways there. I think the simplest is that she did not change to multiplying and flip. All right, would be the way I would explain it. All right, so 4/3 times 5/2. Okay, so or divided by 5/2. All right, so we're going to go 4/3 times 2/5. Okay, so that's going to give us 6 on the top. No, sorry, 8. I'm like not even multiplying right today. 8/15. All right, which is definitely right. Right. So our answer here is 8/15 is the correct answer. Okay, because we did keep change flip. All right, number 3. I'm gonna put the KCF over there because that I think helps people to remember what we're doing here. So we're going to keep 15/4, change to multiply, flip, or find the reciprocal of 5/8, which is 8/5. Okay, now if you went ahead and multiplied across, you would have 120 right here over 20. All right. I prefer to simplify before I multiply, so that rule does apply here too. So we divide by 5 and get 1, divide by 5 and we get 3, divide by 4, we get 1, and we divide by 4 and we get 2. So we get 6/1, or just plain 6. And if you had 120 over 20, that would divide it be 6 also. All right, now here's an example of a word problem. We have Mr. Carter has 12 cups of popcorn and wants to know how many 2/3 cups servings he can make into bags to take on vacation. How many can he take? So basically, when you're scooping things or you're cutting them into a bunch of parts, you're dividing. Okay, so you got to see, what am I dividing? Here I'm dividing 12 cups. It's not necessarily the bigger or smaller number, it's what's being divided up. Okay, so here I'm dividing 12 cups of popcorn into 2/3 cup servings. Okay, so put 12 over 1, any number over 1 is just itself. Okay, then we're going to keep the first one, change to multiply, flip the second one. Keep the 12 over 1. So we have 12 over 1, change to multiply, then flip the second one or find the reciprocal. Okay, now I do have a common factor here, so I'm going to divide those by 2, get 1. Divide that one by 2 and get 6. So 6 times 3 is 18 over 1, or just 18, and then 18 bags that I could make. Okay, make sure you put a word with your answer. Make sure your answer makes sense. All right, number 5, 24 25ths divided by 4/5. All right, I just put the wording with it just so you'd have to think about, does it mean the same thing? Yeah, it does. All right, change to multiply. Flip the second one. All right, so 5 over 4. All right, here we got common factors again. Divide by 5, we get 1. Divide by 5, we get 5. Divide by 4, we get 1. And divide by 4, we get 6. So 6 on the top, 5 on the bottom. All right, so 5 goes into 6 one time. 5 times 1 is 5 with a remainder of 1. So 1 and 1/5. 1 whole with 1 out of 5 left over. Okay. All right, number 6, we have 18 divided by 2/5. First, I'll just put a 1 under that guy. Then I'm going to put my KCF to see the steps I need to take. 18 over 1 times 5 over 2. Now, I'll put the dot because we're going to be starting using x's as variables soon. Okay, so divide these by 2. Here we get 1, and here we get 9. So 9 times 5 is 45. And there we go. So just 45. All right. And remember that it does make sense that there's more parts there because we're taking a whole and dividing it into a fractional part. We did that earlier in our live lesson. If you need to see why that makes sense, look back at that. All right. Then last one, I put a fraction divided by a fraction. So here we have just starting out with KCF, nothing else to do. All right. So 3/8 times 3/2. All right. And I put this one on here just so you remember that you can't always simplify before you multiply. So that was just going to be 9/16, which doesn't reduce. All right. So let me know if you have any questions. Make sure your work is turned in.